Hello, I'm Paul Behrman, and this is Talking About The Who, the podcast dedicated to that nice rock and roll band from Shepherd's Bush, London. Welcome to this free bonus episode, which we've titled Growing Up with The Who. It follows on from the Charlton 1976 episode we released as part of Season 3 recently, and it features more of my conversations with my mum, Wendy, and my dad, John. In this episode, we talk about my childhood and being exposed to The Who and other music from a very young age, about going with my parents to see The Who live as a teenager, and about my relationship with The Who, which has been ingrained since childhood, and my attempt to understand it a bit better. A little bit of context before we begin, for anyone who hasn't heard our very first episode, or the Charlton 76 one. I was born in 1980 in Mile End, East London, and my parents and I lived on the Isle of Dogs in East London until they separated in 1986. The conversations you're about to hear were recorded in April this year, with my mum on Zoom and with my dad face to face at his home on the aforementioned Isle of Dogs. And so, without any further ado, please sit back and enjoy this bonus episode. So you got to see The Who with Keith for one time only, but you have seen The Who a few times since then, which we can maybe touch on now. And as we mentioned earlier, we both went to see them at the Shepherd's Bush Empire in 99. Would that have been the second time you'd seen The Who?
Yeah, so after Keith died, me and your dad, we weren't Kenny Jones fans. Nothing against Kenny when he played with the Faces, but no, he's not going to be in The Who. It's ridiculous having him in The Who. How can he replace Keith? Your dad in particular just hated Kenny Jones. So I think I wouldn't have even thought of going to see them with him. You know, I'll listen to their albums that I know, all the Keith stuff. I'm quite happy with that. Love the Kids Are All Right film, you know, all of that. But didn't really think about going to see them until, like, as you say, you and I went in 1999, and actually I enjoyed them still. So yeah, maybe I missed out a bit. So one time, your dad we came home from the pub and he kept playing this Howard Jones record over and over and over again, and it was driving me nuts. My friend Betty was with us, and I was thinking, how can I get him to stop playing this record? So I said to him, you do know Howard Jones is Kenny Jones' brother, don't you? And that was it. He turned the record off straight away because he thought it was something to do with Kenny Jones, and he hated Kenny Jones. Yeah.
It's genius.
Yeah, but it worked.
Yeah. I think by 99,
so obviously
saw
them in 99 with you, and then we saw them again, didn't we, at Wembley?
Yeah, so Wembley Arena in 2000.
Was it 2000?
Yeah, with
you remember the years better than me, with Joe Strummer's band.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what they were called, but it's not coming to me. But yeah, Joe Strummer.
Mexican.
Hang on, I'll have to look it up.
Mexicanos, and not Mexicanos, but something like the.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Something with an M. But they were actually quite good, weren't they? I enjoyed them, and I was glad we'd seen him because he died not long after that. Joe Strummer.
Yeah, that's right. The Mescaleros, they're called.
Oh, there we are. I was close. Mescalados, I said, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah, he was a great support act. I mean, I don't think I knew as much Clash stuff then as I do now, but it was great hearing him play the Clash songs that he did play.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was good to see him, and it was good to see The Who again.
Yeah, I think by then they were a completely different band to when Kenny Jones was the drummer, just simply because of Zach Starkey, just more a Keith Moon type drummer, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was more comfortable for me, probably.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and then obviously we went to see when they did the whole of Tommy, wasn't it, at the Royal Albert Hall when we were up in the gods.
Yeah, so I think that was 2017.
Probably, yeah, probably roughly then. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, a crap view, but a fantastic gig.
yeah. I mean, when you think of the Royal Albert Hall, and I think of the Eric Clapton thing where I was 5 rows from the front, and then I think of that Who thing where I was up in the gods at the furthest row back you could possibly be. Yeah, it's slightly different. In the same way, I don't like the O2 when you're right at the top. The O2 is worse than the Royal Albert Hall because the seats are closer together. You can't stretch your legs out at all. And I've only got little legs. And I can't even move mine. So you wouldn't cope with it at all.
Hmm.
And you're looking right down, you almost feel like you're horizontal to the stage, sort of thing. That's really uncomfortable. So I think unless I can get tickets lower down at the O2, I wouldn't want to go there either.
No, I think I'm with you on that. Yeah, it was a bit of a crap view at the Albert Hall, but it was fantastic to hear them do the whole of Tommy. And I think it's the only time they have literally done the entire album. Didn't miss any
Yeah.
songs out
And
of it
that
or
was
anything.
recorded, wasn't it? Because it's been on
Yeah,
TV since.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's on Blu-ray and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Charlton wasn't the only Who gig you've been to, because I think it was the next one you went to, and it was my first Who gig was '96 at Hyde Park.
Yes, yeah, we went see you there doing Quadrophenia, I believe.
Yeah, do you remember much about that day?
It was cold. There was a few of us, and we had one jacket, and we was all swapping the jacket around. We had brought loads of beer, and you couldn't drink beer inside, so we drank as much as we could outside, and went in. And the sound system was about a second and a half behind the actual band. Yeah, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, what we could see on screen.
What we could see on screen. Yeah, we was
miles back, weren't we?
Yeah, we couldn't get no further, could we? It was just jammed. I don't know how many people it was. I ran about 500,000. I don't know. It seemed.
I think it's 150,000.
Was it really?
So,
it seemed. Yeah, and it was too big for me. I don't like them big gigs.
No, I don't anymore.
It's too. You want to go to the toilet, you got to think, right, I need a map to find out where I am, because I'm going to find them, the rest of my mates again, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was good. And I see you again doing the Teenage Cancer Trust with Zach Starkey on drums. And that was really good. Really enjoyed that.
I think that was 2002. I don't know.
I think it was. Yeah, I've got the ticket for it, but I can't. It sounds about right. 2002.
Yeah, because I think there were 2 nights, and I think that was John Entwistle's last ever Who gig.
Wow, was it really? Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to find out which one it was.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, yeah.
Hello, Paul here. Just a quick note to tell you about our Talking About the Who membership, which grants you access to all of our bonus episodes and exclusive content, and is just £3 or $4 a month. All the details can be found at talkingaboutthewho.com or via the link in the show notes. And please take a few seconds to like and subscribe on YouTube or rate and review on your podcast app. It goes a long way to supporting us. And now, back to the episode. As we've said, you lived on the Isle of Dogs, and that's when I grew up. So me, you, and my dad living in a flat on the Isle of Dogs. Can you remember how I was first exposed to music?
In the womb.
Can you remember when I was first exposed to music? How it would have come about?
Within a couple of weeks of being born. Yeah.
You would have gone to with me, as it were, to the Bridge House to see the wonderful, if anyone from London remembers them, RDB, Remus Down Boulevard, and other good bands there.
Featuring Dennis Stratton from Iron Maiden.
Yeah, great band. And funny, you and I went to see them a few years ago, and you asked me what songs did they do, and I couldn't remember a song. And then when we got there and they started playing, I knew every song and every word to every song, but I couldn't have told you them before we got there. Just shows what the memory's like. So obviously then, and then I used to watch Top of the Pops every week, so you'd watch that with me. And then there were things on TV, so you'd watch. We'd obviously play records as well, but to look at things. So we watched things on TV if anything came on, and at the time there were quite a few things that would come on now and again, Rock Around the Clock and things like that. So they would play records all through the night, I think for charity and stuff like that. Almost a precursor to Children in Need and that sort of thing. I think they were charity things, but they were all through the night anyway, with loads of films of bands and stuff. So you would watch all of that and enjoy that, but we'd obviously play records as well all the time. So there'd be radio or album on or something. You were a very active child, and at the time, ADHD was literally just starting to be talked about, and I did wonder whether because you were so hyperactive, I did wonder. The song Hyperactive as well resonated with me. And but then, and you didn't sleep at night. You never slept more than an hour at a time, then you'd be wide awake. So if I did what a normal parent would do, put you to bed at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, an hour later you'd be wide awake and wouldn't go back to sleep again. So just have to until eventually I could rock you off to sleep. And then you'd be awake an hour later, then another hour after that, and then an hour after that. And the one night that you slept as a child was when the people downstairs in the flats to us had a party, and they were like rock fans. So they were playing this rock music all very loud, and you slept through it all. But obviously I didn't get a wink of sleep, but you slept through it all. So obviously that would have been the way. I should have got your headphones and just played your music all night, and I'd have probably had. But you did start to sleep when you went to school. So then, once you had a better routine, so I stopped thinking it was ADHD, and realised it's probably just you needed a routine. But so when you were about 2 or I think maybe 3, they had one of those rock around the clock things. So it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe, and you're sitting on my lap in the lounge room, the TV's on. There were 2 programs on. The first one was one about Eric Clapton. The second was one about Jimi Hendrix, a documentary about Jimi Hendrix. So you sat through the Clapton one, maybe moving a little bit, but watching it. But the Hendrix one, you literally didn't move a muscle, just sat there completely focused on Hendrix and the TV, and just absolutely loved him. After that, that was it. You know, Hendrix was your big thing, and you would do your Hendrix impersonations. You had toy guitars, you had cardboard guitars, you had like a selection of different guitars. And you would do Hendrix brilliantly. You'd be on your knees burning your guitar, or you'd be playing it with your teeth, or just you couldn't even say the words properly. Purple Haze. It would be, instead of "excuse me while I kiss this," it'd be "Kumi yagi yaga." So you couldn't even say the words fully, but you would say them anyway. So he was your love, and you did like Eric Clapton as well. You liked the Who, and then you'd set up everything gradually over the next few years. You got like a little drum kit one Christmas, and you had all these different things. So you'd set up all your teddies. So one of them would be Keith Moon on the drums, and then someone else would be John Entwistle. So you'd obviously be Pete, and someone would be Roger, and you'd have them all set up behind you with their instruments, and you'd be acting it all out. You did AC/DC really well. You'd take your top off and just have your shorts on and be going across the stage. Is it Angus Young that did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do that brilliantly. But you would literally take off all of the musicians. I just wish I had video footage of that, but I don't think anyone's got any that I know of anyway. But you definitely just loved it all. So got video of you as a child, but not not doing all your great things that you did, sadly. Yeah.
And I think there's quite an amusing story attached to that toy drum kit as well.
What, that you kicked it over and smashed your guitar through it? And stuff.
Tell that story.
Oh, that's it, basically. That you did a Keith Moon on your drum kit, and I think you just kicked it over. Guitar went through it, but by the end, it was constantly being sellotaped together again because you would have a Who day, and just that was it. You'd be doing your thing with the drum kit.
Yeah, I used to pull my albums out. I used to go and find my albums, and they'd be covered in chocolate pudding. And I had a lovely equaliser on my amp, and there was all cake and chocolate on it. And I know you've been mucking about with it. And we had, I think we had videos in. I think the video was invented then, the music, or we was play music every day, or watch videos every day. And you was always, as soon as more or less you was walking, like I used to make toy guitars or cut guitars, cardboard guitars, and you used to see them play along with And I think you was even talking properly. You used to just make up your own words. It was like that, and you'd do a dance, like that. But it was one thing I was playing Hendrix. What's the track? I think it's Johnny Be Good by Hendrix, and you was dancing around it. And then there's a certain point where the snare goes, and your legs went exactly the same time as the drummer. And I thought, wow, that's amazing rhythm you got. And obviously you grew up to be a drummer anyway, so you had it in you from like the age of 2 to be a drummer, I reckon, from then. I bought you a little kit. I think you smashed the other after a while. Watching Mooney smash you smashed yours. Yeah, and I used to, when your mum went out, very rarely your mum went out, but she'd go out with her sister, and I say, we'll stay and watch telly, and I say, you want to go down a pub? You go, yeah, and there's a band on, and I used to take you in there, and of course, I had a drum kit, and you used to sit on mine and play it, but as soon as you see the other guy's drum kit, you wouldn't sit on the kit, which you did. They let you sit on, okay, you play, and people would ask you music questions, and you would answer it. I think someone said mucking about who's in Cream, and you went, Eric Clapton, Baby Jack Bruce. She went, how does he know that? How can he know that? He's only like 3, 5 or whatever. How does he know that? I said, he does. He knows everything, about music. He used to shock people, and it was a biker's pub as well at the time, that was funny. Yeah, you was always playing guitar, dancing around. You had a couple, I think my mate gave you a bass guitar once, an old bass. You had 2 electric guitars, like tennis rackets. You used to use anything as a guitar. Yeah, there is a picture of you surrounded with guitars. I remember it.
We'll have to dig that out.
Yeah. There's a Union Jack guitar. I can't even remember where that came from.
That was a Rickenbacker, wasn't it?
It was.
It's probably a copy.
A copy. It wasn't a real Rickenbacker. It was a copy, and then you had a bass guitar. I can't remember even where they came from.
Or what happened to them?
Or what happened to them either.
Oh.
No, I can't remember.
Great to have that now.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, it's probably smashed to the pieces. And as once we was watching. We were Hendrix and Monterey, and at the end he sets his guitar alight, and I said, I know a great idea, come with me, So I went to the gas cooker and I put your guitar and set your guitar, and I thought you like it, you started crying, well, this has gone wrong. I was same as Hendrix, look, your guitar's on fire, guitar, So that was a funny memory. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier being a drummer yourself.
Yes, yeah.
So let's mention your band from the 80s, a band called Poverty Line.
Yes.
Played around the pubs on the Isle of Dogs in East London.
Yeah.
How much of an inspiration was Keith Moon on your drumming?
I don't sound like him at all. Yeah. I wanted to, if I could, to try it and play like him, but I found it impossible, really, because you play. It depends on your musicians and the sort of music you're playing, But Keith Moon, he had such a strange way of playing that, as people said, he probably couldn't play with another band. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Yeah, I don't think he could. I mean, I know he did Bex Bolero,
Yeah.
but that's like a one-off exception, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously Townsend, Pete's more of a rhythm guitarist than he's a lead guitarist. Though he's what he does is good. But Mooney, if you had a lead guitarist who really wanted to do a lot of lead, I don't think it wouldn't work with Keith Moon's drums. I personally don't think.
No,
I think it'd be a bit messy.
I'm thinking like Jimi Hendrix with Keith Moon.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't work, would it?
Nah.
You know, it'd be messy, you know. But no, he was an influence to me as a drummer, but not with my playing. You know, I'm more of a straight lad player.
Yeah.
You know, rather I don't try to play lad, but I am lad. I'm naturally a lad. So yeah, you know. But yeah, same. Mitch Mitchell's an influence on me. I don't sound like him. I don't sound like Ginger Baker. You know, don't sound like none of them. But
you got a Mitch Mitchell story as well, haven't you?
Well, that was funny. Yeah, we went to a Bridge House, which is a pub in Canning Town, very famous music pub, and it was a Thursday night. And we went in there, and there was
what year is this roughly?
Oh, it's the late mid-70s.
Yeah,
roughly. Yeah. So it was a Thursday night, and there was a band on. As far as I know, it was a jazz band. We went. Let's go and watch them, whoever they are. I can't remember what it was called even now. And as I went in the pub, I noticed that on the stage, he had exact line-up. His drum kit was exactly the same as Mitch Mitchell's. And there weren't no videos, no YouTube then. Yeah. If you look, I believe it was The Cry of Love. If you open The Cry of Love, there's a picture of Mitchell with probably a 22-inch bass drum and probably a 20-inch bass drum. Well, you know, slightly smaller, and the colour of it was black, and the cymbals. And I used to look at it a lot, thinking that's nice. That's a nice kit. And as I'm in the Bridge House, it was exactly that kit was on stage, right? And I went, oh, he must be a Mitch Mitchell fan because he's got the same lineup, the same kit. And I watched him play, and I thought, oh my God, he really sounds like Mitch Mitchell, the guy, yeah? And he'd done a little bit of a solo. And the solo, if you watch Hendrix at the Isle of Wight, that drum solo, yeah, he played a part of it because I know it inside out. And I went, oh, he's actually copying Mitch Mitchell now. So when they had a break, I went up to him. I said, oh, I see you're a Mitch Mitchell fan, yeah? And this guy who was smaller than me, had a beard, longish, yeah? And he went, oh, no, I don't know who he is. Right? And I thought, well, that's a strange answer. You don't know who he is. You're playing his stuff. You got the same kit as him. You must be a great fan. Then later, the guy Terry Murphy, who owned the Bridge House, bought a book out. And he said, on the Thursdays, Mitch Mitchell used to play in the pub. And I went, it was him. Yeah. It's proven. But he said, I don't know who he is. Yeah, and he was straight. And I went, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, what's the matter with him? Well, it can't be a coincidence that he's playing like him with the same bloody kit. You know, but it was him. It must have been him. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a strange... So I met him without knowing I met him. Yeah. That's strange, yeah. It must be his sense of humour, or he didn't want to be recognised. I don't know.
Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah, because he didn't say tonight, Mitch Mitchell, Hendrix experienced drummer. Yeah. It was none of that, you know. So it could be he didn't want no one to know who he was. Yeah. Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you remember any particular Who-related stuff that I would have been watching or listening to around that time when I was first sort of getting into them? Could you remember like a moment when I would have first discovered them, maybe, or first seen them on TV, or?
Not that I can think of. I mean, obviously they came on to these programs that they showed. There would have probably been things about them, I'm sure, but I can't think in particular when they just, I don't know, they were just always part of your makeup somehow. I don't know. Don't know how it happened.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know if what a therapist would say or a psychiatrist about it, but
well, you did have other people that you liked. I mean, it wasn't all rock stuff. You were into Eddie Grant and Musical Youth, and I think it's probably your second or third birthday that you got cassettes of Eddie Grant and Musical Youth in your presents from your godparents, actually. And you had a little battery operated record player and singles, and you'd play the singles on your little record player. So everything you did was music related, basically. Yeah. So as a child, you were heavily into music.
I don't know if the video was out at first when you was. I don't know if they invented it, but at first I can't remember. But playing whatever, you explode Hendrix, Deep Purple, Uriah, all the stuff I liked, I was playing, and you was listening to all that. So that was all. You didn't listen to nursery rhymes. It was like Hendrix or Clapton, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a few things I do remember as a kid. I'm pretty sure we had The Kids Are Alright on VHS. Maybe like a pirate copy or something.
Yeah, no, we did have The Kids Are Alright, yeah. Yeah, you used to play that all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember the final gig with Kenny Jones from 1982, having that on video. That's something I watched a lot as a kid.
Yeah. And then obviously at my band, we got video once I think it was 83 or 84. We had a video of that, Povey and I, and he used to play that a lot and used to sing through all the tracks. So you knew the set list better than we did. Yeah.
We used to have a lady called Maud who used to come and babysit for us sometimes when you were maybe about 5. She lived opposite my mum and dad, and she was quite an elderly lady, but she absolutely adored you. She thought you were the best thing ever. In fact, I think she left you £1,000 in her will. But she would come round, this sweet little old lady, and you'd be playing her all this rock music and stuff. We'd go out, and we were convinced that while we were out, she became Hell's Granny and put on like a leather jacket and joined in all the rock stuff, and then turned back into a little old lady as we were arriving home. She quite happily went along with whatever you wanted to do. She was quite happy to do it.
Right, today, Maud, you're going to be John Entwistle and I'm going to be Pete Townsend.
Yeah, you're going to kick the drum kit over.
So another thing that I remember as a kid is I'd receive birthday and Christmas presents that would be labelled from Pete Townsend or Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that was your idea?
Yeah, well, there would be all these presents you were getting, lots and lots of things I'm wrapping up, and I'd just get so bored with writing, lots of love from mum and dad, and think, I'm going to put this one and so I'd disguise my writing and put it from, Pete Townsend or Jimi Hendrix. Sometimes it was appropriate. I think you got a Who book one time, didn't you? Is it one of the ones that you've since interviewed the author?
Oh, Chris Charlesworth's book, the illustrated biography.
Yeah. So that would probably have been from Pete, So if it was something appropriate, it would have definitely been from Pete or Jimmy or whatever. Yeah. So it was just a reaction to the boredom of writing mum and dad and thinking you would enjoy it as well. But I came a cropper. If I can tell the story of Live Aid.
Yeah.
So Live Aid in 1985?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were 5. And we went to a wedding that day and we videoed Live Aid before we went. And then we set it all to record on the long play record, where you could do, it was a 3-hour tape, but you could tape 6 hours. And we'd left that recording when we went out and everything. Anyway, so we come out of this wedding, and as you do, on the way home, we thought we'll pop into this shop and get a kebab or fish and chips or something. It was some sort of chip shop or whatever. And they had the telly on and Live Aid was on because obviously the whole country was watching it. And you just said to me, Mum, why isn't Jimi Hendrix on it? He's like the top guitarist. Why haven't they got him on it? And I then had to explain to you, sorry, Paul, but Hendrix actually died 10 years before you were born, It was like quite heartbreaking having to break that to you. Yeah.
Was I really upset?
No, I think you took it quite well, actually. Yeah, I think you dealt with it quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a hard thing to do to a 5-year-old, and I did feel awful.
But I genuinely believe those presents were from Pete Townsend and Jimi Hendrix. I remember that.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it was quite a thrill, actually, being able to interview Chris Charlesworth on Zoom and show him the book that I would have got for my birthday or Christmas as a kid, and
yeah,
just show it to him. It was almost like the equivalent of getting him to sign it, but it was pretty cool to be able to just show him it. Oh, I've got this when I was a kid.
yeah. And there's a photo of you as a child with some sort of music. Is that a Who t-shirt? A black t-shirt you've got on. You're about 5 or 6.
Yeah, I do remember that T-shirt. I think it was a picture of Pete Townsend, and it said on it, "Why don't you all fade away?" I think that's what the lyric was. It was definitely a lyric from my generation.
Yeah,
That was a great T-shirt.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that T-shirt anywhere else ever.
No. So there weren't many kids wearing black Pete Townsend t-shirts when they were about 5 at the times.
No, I guess not. No, but I was talking to Ange, my girlfriend, about this recently. But it's something I've been thinking about since starting the podcast. And I've said from episode 1, I never considered myself a hardcore / super fan of The Who. Certainly far from being an expert. But part of the podcast was taking that deep dive, learning more about them, filling the gaps in my knowledge. But at the same time, they've always been my favourite band. But what I'm sort of trying to get my head round is, I think because they've literally always been there since I was 2-3 years old.
Yeah.
I can't remember any point in my life where The Who weren't part of it, and I didn't know their music. I've literally always known their music.
Yeah.
And I think even to the point where, I mean, I've been asked before if there's any particular lyrics that really stood out to me when I was a kid and into The Who. And I think I probably didn't even take any notice of what the lyrics were, but I literally knew the words to so many songs, and I knew the music inside out, and I couldn't really even tell you what it is about the music that I like, but again, because it's been there from the start, it literally feels like it's ingrained in me. But I think in a strange way that stopped me from becoming a super fan or a hardcore fan, because I've only seen them 6 times. I've never set out to see them every time they've toured. But it's almost like, because I know them, I've got such a deep connection with them that I almost didn't need to become a super fan, because they were always there.
They're almost like your family, part of the family.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't know how much sense that makes. It's something I'm still trying to get my head around, but I think in a weird way it explains maybe why I'm not a super fan, because it was almost like I didn't really need to be a fan, even though I am a fan, obviously. But for me, it just goes so much deeper than that. And it's quite strange. It's quite strange.
Yeah, but if you think back to your toy drum kit, I don't know what we would have had, what video we would have had I don't think we had The Kids Are All Right on video, but you must have seen footage. You must have been watching footage of them smashing the drum kit, guitar thrown at the drum kit, whatever, for you to have even thought that. So it could be that's why they became your favourite, because as a child to watch, Hendrix, you loved it. When he's burning his guitar and playing it with his teeth and behind his head and all that, it's exciting. That's what you like, that visual thing of him playing that guitar. It's sounding great, but he's also, doing these amazing things as well. Angus Young scooting across the stage, that's what you liked, the movement and what he's doing. So The Who, that would have been for you, that's perfection. You've got the whole lot there. You've got the guitar, which you always loved, and the sound of it, and the windmilling and all the rest of it. And then Roger swinging the mic round and, dancing around, Keith just completely insane. And then the contrast of John in the corner. But for you, that would, it's probably that chaos is what appealed to you, that wildness. Maybe it fell in with your hyperactivity at the time. Maybe it linked in with that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually. And it makes a lot of sense. And as you were talking, and I was thinking another thing I loved as a kid and probably shouldn't have been exposed to, but was the sitcom The Young Ones, which is complete chaos and anarchy. And I was thinking, I wonder, I think The Young Ones this can apply to, but I wonder if it applies to bands like The Who and maybe AC/DC, the Beatles to an extent, and you could apply this to Hendrix. Maybe as a kid, they're almost like cartoons because they're just sort of larger than life, and they're
larger than life. Yeah,
and it's colourful and it's chaotic and it's, you know, almost like Tom and Jerry, but set to the rock band equivalent of Tom and Jerry sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, you could do a psychological study into this. Why are people Who fans? I mean, as we've discovered while you've been doing the podcast, the Who attracts a really broad church of people that are wacky in their own different ways. You know, these eccentric, larger than life characters who all love the Who. You know, it attracts like for like sort of thing. You know, Who fans are just a great bunch of people because they're not the normal sit at home, watch the telly people. They're people who maybe enjoy the chaos and the drama that surrounds the Who, everything that goes on there.
I think you're spot on. I think they appeal to outsiders.
Yeah.
And I actually do remember having The Kids Are Alright on video as a kid. So
right, maybe we did then. Yeah. I mean, I certainly know The Kids Are Alright well, so we probably did.
Yeah, and I remember having the video of their last gig in 1982 at Toronto with Kenny Jones. That's something I would have watched a lot as a kid. And also remember in 1985 the South Bank show episode about Pete Townsend. For anyone who doesn't know, that was a show in the UK, kind of like an arts show, which would have documentaries about musicians and film directors and theatre directors,
artists.
Artists. And there was one episode on Pete Townsend. That's something you would have probably videoed for me and I would have watched again and again.
Yeah,
they're the three main things I remember as a kid watching endlessly.
Yeah,
and I think that's the reason why I can understand people felt that the Who ended when Keith Moon died, and I think it's a valid argument to make. But I think for me, I still consider the Who as Kenny Jones being their drummer and onwards, because I grew up with, I guess, both Keith and Kenny as were equal in my mind as the drummer for the Who. So I certainly don't just see it as it all ended in 1978. I think the history up to today is still valid. It's still the Who, and let's cover it in this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, when John died, my feeling was, oh God, surely they're not going to continue now. You know, they've continued after Keith, and that sort of worked, but surely they can't keep going after John's gone. But actually, they have, and it does still work. So yeah, it's different, obviously.
Yeah,
every evolving is different, but then that is music, isn't it? That's what happens. And when you go and see a band live, you might have seen them 30 or 40 times, but every time they've done a particular song will be unique to that time, because every version is different slightly. And so if the band evolves and the music evolves, you just go with it, don't you?